Live from New York, it's PPNY, your property professionals of New York. I am your host, Ryan O'Neill Williams, and this is PPNY TV. With today, my guest is PPNY Compliance Officer and attorney, real estate attorney, Herbert Pitkowsky. But he likes to go by Herb. Herb Pitkowsky, Esquire, attorney at law. How are you doing, Herb?
Great. Good morning, Ryan. Great to
Good
be with you today.
Good morning. Good morning. So, how has it been? How has the last 2 years of I've heard people say turmoil, I've heard people say upheaval. How has it been for your business as an attorney in real estate?
Well, it's certainly been different. I'll tell you, the time has flown by. It's amazing that it's 2 years already.
Yeah.
It is quite incredible. There certainly was a shutdown at the very beginning. There was no activity. The courts were closed entirely. Transactional business, pretty much anything that was in the pipeline, you got finished, but there was nothing new coming in the pipeline after that until things started to open up. It took at least 6 months to a year before that happened, but
Mhm.
transactional people still had to, make do and buy and sell. There definitely became a seller's market because there wasn't a lot of inventory out there for buyers to look at, and it was difficult for buyers to get in, to do inspections, to do a
Right.
walk, see the properties. People were very reticent to have people coming into their house,
That's right.
and so you had lines out the door and down the block because they were bringing them in one at a time. Whereas you used to have an open house and you'd have people milling around. Now it was by appointment. It was one at a time. It became difficult, but we got the job done, and
Right.
closings were done either remotely or they were done in different rooms. Literally, I've been in closings where the buyers were in one room, the sellers were in another room, the title company and the bank was in a third room. Uh, I've had it where we're in one big room and we're at three different tables. So you got the job done however you needed to do it if you were able to. But business definitely slowed down
Right.
tremendously, and the courts remained closed for well over a year. Then they started going remote and electronically. That helped a bit, but there's still a tremendous backlog in the courts for sure. And people are now just, uh, going back to the courts and being able to go in and do things. Transactional work is becoming a little easier. There are definitely, buys and sells and things going on, but it's become, it's exciting time. You've got to be able to adjust and make do. You can't just fold up your tents. Things don't go away. People's problems don't go away. And in fact, unfortunately, due to COVID, we had quite a number of situations, estates, people passing, having to deal with that. And
Yes.
we had a number of people who needed advanced directives and,
Yeah.
and planning because their loved ones got sick and they didn't know what was coming next. So,
Exactly. I do want to get into that and ask you all about that. But before that, I do want to know all of the different types of law that you specialize in.
sure. I'm doing this now. It's hard to believe I'm doing this 36 years.
Often
Time
in the blink
flies.
of an eye.
It's a blink of an eye. And look how
Yeah,
young
I'm
I am.
50 next year, and I was like, "What? I'm what?
How is that possible?
I
Yeah,
still
yeah.
feel like that 17-year-old."
I know, I know. It's 30. It's going to be 37 years. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. But I started out at a small boutique firm in Brooklyn for 10 years. I became a senior associate there and then went out on my own and do primarily transactional real estate purchases, sales, refinance, loan modifications, getting people out of bankruptcy or foreclosure situations. Not really bankruptcy. I don't do bankruptcy, but foreclosure situations where we can save the house for them, work out a plan with the bank.
Yeah.
That's the key for people. They want to stay in their homes. They don't want
Right.
to have to give up their homes.
Right.
But anybody buying and selling, co-ops, condos, mixed-use properties, two-family houses, mansion homes. I've handled transactions for millions of dollars. There probably isn't a real estate transaction that I haven't seen
Haven't handled.
over the course of my 36 years, and thankfully they've all closed. Uh,
Okay.
that's the key. As I tell people, we're not here to litigate. Some people come in. Well, can I keep their deposit? Well, that's not the goal. The goal is to close. The we hopefully in real estate it's a win-win. The
Yeah.
buyer wants to buy, the seller wants to sell. You
Right.
get them together. You work out the differences between them. But the goal is to close. And I can say that I've never had a deal that didn't close. Sometimes they get canceled. Somebody doesn't get their financing. Hey, you make sure, and that's what's most important in the contract phase is that the attorney does their due diligence, has the protections in the contract so that if the deal is going to go south, that no one's hurt, that everybody knows what the expectations are. Because as long as everybody knows the expectations, they can plan. They know, okay, once they get their mortgage, they're locked in, or if they don't get their mortgage, they can get out. But otherwise, you want to know what your expectations are, whether it's with regards to the conditions of the property, the roof, the repairs that may be necessary, survey issues, out of possession issues. All these things have to be resolved before you can get to the closing table. And when you get to the closing table, you don't want to have an argument. You want to give them the money, get the deed, close the deal, make everybody shakes hands and is happy with the result. So
I feel
that's
like
always the goal, and that's where we get to.
I feel as though being in a group like PPNY helps you with that too. So if there is a roadblock or an issue or some sort of detour that you have to take, that you actually have the kind of professionals right on hand that you could talk to about whatever situation or help you get through it quickly so that the
Absolutely.
thing doesn't stall.
Absolutely, that's critical from start to finish. We associate ourselves with the people who are going to be able to get the deal done. So we have home inspectors who can check out what the conditions are and what repairs may be necessary. We have termite and bug inspectors who
That's
can
right.
make sure that there are no problems there. We have title people to check out the title. We have expediters who can work on if there are any open permits or any issues with regards to certificates of occupancy. Very critical. You want to make sure that the house is going to stand up, that the deck they put on the back isn't going to fall down,
Yeah.
that the fireplace was legalized, that the bathroom was legalized. These are all important things, and we have all the professionals who can check these things out. Then when you get to the closing, you're going to need insurance. We have insurance people we can call upon who can say, hey, is this a good deal? Can we get a better deal? What do we need? Do we need flood insurance? We don't need flood insurance. Because just because the bank tells you one thing doesn't mean it's always the case, and the banks may be asking for more than they're really entitled to, and sometimes you have to educate them. So we make sure we have the professionals who know what they're doing on each of these subjects and can help out. So we call upon them, and it's great to be able to call upon professionals who you can trust and rely upon, and who are going to treat your clients as if they were their friends because they're
Excellent.
coming from you, and that's important.
And you also, as the PPNY compliance officer, kind of make sure that you heard all those cats and make sure they were. Although technically, it's not really a herding the cat situation with PPNY. I feel like you guys are really really into what you do. When I sit down with them, we had that mastermind breakfast on Wednesday, and these guys were really, I mean, focused on exactly
Yeah.
what it was they were doing, passing information back and forth between them. It was really great. So, as PPNY compliance officer, exactly what do you do? How do you make sure that we stay in compliance?
Sure. Well, not quite as critical as an SEC compliance officer, but in terms of PPNY, what we do is we try to make sure that the people, the professionals we bring on board, have the ability and the credentials to handle the situation. It's one thing to have the title; it's another thing to have the knowledge. So we interact with the people and make sure that they have the knowledge that they can service our clients, because I don't want to refer somebody to somebody else and not be confident that they can do the job.
That's right.
So that's the first thing. So anybody coming to become a member of PPNY, we ask them their bona fides. We find out and make sure that they're credible in their subject area. We try to keep people in each of the various chapters limited. So we have one expert in each area in each chapter. That real estate broker we can rely upon, a mortgage broker we can rely upon, mortgage officers. We have commercial mortgage people, residential mortgage people that we know can get us the answers. We have CPAs and accountants who can give us answers on the tax matters. And as you were saying at the meetings, what we do is we find out what's new, what's going on, what's changing in the landscape, because the law and the areas are always constantly evolving. So you have to stay on top of these things.
Exactly.
So in terms of compliance, and then of course we make sure that the members are meeting their obligations, attending the meetings, and making referrals within the group to one another to foster business. That's the key. The key is business. We're a business organization. We're a service organization. We try to help our clients, and we try to foster business in the real estate area and all the other tangential areas that people deal with. So we somebody needs a auto insurance. Well, our insurance people know how to do auto insurance or health insurance just as well as they know how to do home insurance.
Right.
And we can feel confident in referring them for those things as well. The CPA can handle corporate returns just as easily as personal returns, just as easily as real estate matters. So these are all the tangential subjects that we each handle. The attorneys in the group handle litigation. I handle estate planning and estate administrations, as I said, as well as business matters. So we're well rounded in being able to service the clientele that we have.
Right. And in general, how do you think PPNY has helped your business specifically, but then in general, attorneys?
Mm-hmm. Well, in terms of my business, I'm happy to say I've had numerous referrals from many of the various members of PPNY on multiple levels, and not just on real estate, but on other things that they've needed, either for themselves, their family, or their clients. And I'm happy to assist them. The so there's been a stream of business that's been created over the time. I've been with PPNY now since 2016. So it's been a number of years, and I wouldn't stay if there wasn't a good stream of business coming in, and we were all looking for that to be maintained. In terms of attorneys, you know, we're the backstop, we're the bottom line for a transaction to go through. Some people want to not get a survey or they don't want to do a home inspection. You can't force them to. You can recommend it. You
Right.
can advise them that's well, purposed, and you're buying something for hundreds of thousands of dollars. You don't want to cheat yourself by not doing something that's going to cost under $1,000. But if that's what their wish is, then that's what their wish is. They're the client. They get to decide. But the attorney has to make sure the client understands all of these things.
Okay. Okay. I was just thinking to myself, what sets you apart? And it sounds like you're willing to go with what their wishes are, but at the same time, you're going to tell the people this is the best thing that is there for you. Why do you think people would go to Herb Pitkowsky, attorney at law, as opposed to some other attorney, some other?
Sure, there are no shortages of attorneys out there. That's for sure.
Exactly.
And as I like to say, referrals are the lifeblood of my business and the nicest thing anyone can do. And I can say, thankfully, in my 36 years, I've relied primarily on referral business. So prior clients coming back to me because now they're buying something new or they're selling what they have and they're moving on. So clients referring their family members all the time. And I've relied upon that. And the reason they do come to me is because I provide personalized service. You get me. I'm handling your transaction. You're not being pushed off on a paralegal who's may or may not know what's going on and has to check up line, and I'll get back to you with an answer, and who knows when that'll be. So when you retain myself and my office, you get me. I show up at the closing, and I handle your transaction from soup to nuts. So
Nice.
you have me that you can rely upon and know that I'm going to give you the answers. Now, I'm not saying I don't have other people I work with and have staff, but you want to know at the end of the day that I'm going to be there and I'm going to show up at the closing. So many times I've gone to closings where the other side, is like, "Who are you?" To the other attorney or the other side, and go,
Yeah.
"Where is so and so?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm here. I'm handling it. Don't worry. He told me everything that's got to be done." Well, that's hoping that it's a white bread, clean closing, but
Yeah.
there's
But if
always
something happens,
there's
now what?
always something that's going to happen
Yeah. Yeah.
and something that's going to come
It's
up,
always
and and you don't want them having to get on the phone to get an answer. You
you
know,
don't. Yeah. Like, oh, so you don't know what you're doing. What else could you possibly be missing?
right?
What the heck?
Exactly,
It's
exactly.
so funny that you're saying this, and literally, I have a client who I work with, a marketing client, and he said to me, Ryan, I'm doing this closing. I've got a business, um, and I need somebody to look at this license that I have here. And the attorney who said he was supposed to show up is like, oh, I don't need to show up for that. And I was like, no, no, no. I need someone to be
Right.
here to make sure it's correct, because it's one of those things that can be a little, it's there's government
Oh well,
involved, there's licensure. He was just saying to me, Ryan, I don't want to use this guy. I'm getting another license so that I can operate another business in the same area, and I don't want to use this guy anymore. And he
yeah,
literally said to
sure.
me, Ryan, do you have an attorney? And I was like saying to myself, huh, like give this to her. And now I'm gonna like
Well, it's important because you get these contracts or these documents. They're maybe even only 1 or 2 pages long, but they're written for the normal person
right.
in Greek.
Yeah.
It's legalese. I mean, the
Yeah.
lawyers write it that way sometimes to self fulfill their prophecy that they can interpret it and know what it means. Or I'll give you another. I got a title report the other day. It was 206 pages long. Okay,
Wow.
so yeah, I got to go through that. But thankfully, I know what I'm looking for and what's important and what's not.
Yeah.
So I'm able to go through it. Or a co-op prospectus. You get these books. They're like phone books. Those who remember what a phone book is,
No.
but
What are
you get
those?
well, what's a phone book? Don't you have a contact list? I mean, but those of us who are older remember phone. Co-op prospectus is a huge book.
Yeah.
500-600 pages, and you can't be sitting there reading every page.
No.
You got to know what is boilerplate, what is important, what do you have to go, what's the critical elements here, and that's what you focus on. Same thing
Sounds
with a
to me,
license agreement or a
sounds to me like
contract
what sets you apart is experience and knowledge
and
of
personal
the law.
service.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
would
like
say that
expertise.
experience and personal service. I pride myself on the personal service.
Cool.
I'm going to get back to people uh,
Excellent.
and get them an answer, whether it's
So,
with
if
somebody else.
they want to get a hold of you, someone wants to get a hold, they want to get a hold of Herb Pitkowsky, attorney at law. How do they call? How do they? What number do they call? Who they
Sure.
say? How
Sure.
do
The
they?
easiest way to reach me is by phone. My number is 516-594-1944. If I'm not in, it'll go to my cell phone. And if I'm not available because I'm in a closing or I'm in court or where have you, you'll get my voicemail and I'll always get back to you within the day. Uh, you can also email me, hgpesq at optonline.net, and that'll get to me as well. And I will always get back to you there. Uh,
whenever I hear optonline.net, it does a thing as a marketing, as a digital marketing person, like it hits me in the head, like, oh, I hate those guys. Well,
Yeah, I don't know how they came up with that, but
well,
it's
they're good. I mean, technically, it's great that they've got all these people on it, but I would love to have a Herbert at or H Pitkowsky at Herbert Pitkowsky esq.com. We'll talk about
well,
that
we'll
another
work on that. We'll work on that.
but
I'm an
yeah.
old dog. It's I still
Give
like
me that number
pencils.
one more time, that phone number.
Sure, 516-594-1944. That's the best way.
1944. That's how you get a hold of
That's how you get me.
my man,
Yeah.
Herb Pitkowsky, who
I still
happens.
use pencils and erasers,
It's what's to be done. It is what it is. So that's how you get a hold of Herb Pitkowsky, an attorney at law. Wow, we didn't even. Well, I guess we did talk a little bit about um, the advanced arrangements there for
estate
estate planning.
more and more these days. I tell you, estate planning and estate administrations, unfortunately for people who pass, but advanced directives are so critical for everybody to have. Until you're in a crisis situation, you don't think you need it. And everybody procrastinates and puts it off and puts it off. Nobody wants to have to talk about death and dying or being sick or having to be disabled. But you can't plan in a crisis situation. You
That's right.
have to plan in advance.
That's right. When it's
It's never too soon to plan, but sometimes it can be too late. If God forbid you're in the hospital, you're unconscious, you can't make a power of attorney at that point
yeah,
to give somebody the ability to handle your finances for you. And as long as you're alive, nobody can handle your finances for you, because unless they have a power of attorney and a durable power of attorney.
right.
And the durable power of attorney law just recently changed this past June. So it's important that you make sure that you have a proper power of attorney and that it has the proper powers in it so that somebody can handle your affairs if you become disabled. And that can save your family tens of thousands of dollars not having to get appointed as a guardian. And healthcare, many times, you think, okay, I'm going to make my own healthcare decisions, and you do, as long as you're able to. But if you become unable to, who's going to
Right.
make those decisions?
Right.
A spouse, children. But what if they don't know your wishes? You want to make those known. You want to have it be not challenged,
Right.
as to what, God forbid, you're in that situation and what needs to be done. So it's very
I
important.
put your phone number up until somebody's calling you right away, or
Well, hey, these things
that's it.
you
At
know,
least we know this works.
right. But
Ladies and gentlemen, the man is
since I'm
on
on with you,
live.
I'll have to get back to them.
That's
So,
right.
you know,
Ladies and gentlemen, he's on live, okay? He's on YouTube, he's on Facebook, he's in our Facebook group at PPNY right now. You cannot call him right now. You got to give the guy at least 5 minutes to get off this live show, and then you can call him, all right? Do not, I know I put the number up. All you need to do is put it in your phone, okay? But that happens. I mean, that is what it is.
well, the
Herb, I
people
want to
are
thank
always
you.
looking for answers.
I want to thank you so very much for spending the time with us, explaining that, especially because I was interested in hearing about advanced directives and some estate planning. Because as you get older, you realize that that's something you definitely need to take care of, right? Um, and thank you so very much for your compliance information. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are in PPNY and you're not absolutely sure how to move forward with something, or you want to talk about the group or something like that, reach out to Herb. Herb's been here, like you said, from 2016. What are we? You're like 6 years in, huh?
Yeah,
And like it.
amazing. Time flies.
Yeah, it is. It does. It absolutely does. So, ladies and gents, I want to say thank you very much. Next week, Wednesday, we do have an event. I believe it is
That's
an
true.
open breakfast at
That's
eight
true. We have an
forty-five.
open house. We have an open house from new members to join us. We're going to be meeting at the Landmark Diner in Roslyn on Northern Boulevard.
Doing my
Uh,
job, Herb. Go
hey,
ahead.
there you go. Uh, and I believe we're starting off at 8:45 in the morning.
That's correct.
If you want to come, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Ryan. You can reach out to us on Meetup.com, where we have a site, and we're happy to have you join us at that meeting.
Yeah, exactly. You are going to go to ppnynetwork.com/meetup, ppnynetwork.com/meetup, and that will actually bring you to our group on Meetup, and you can look for the events that are there. And because this is an open event, you can join it from there. Otherwise, you want to come to us at Facebook at facebook.com/ppny network, at facebook.com/groups/ppny network, or in general, PPNY Network, anything will bring you to all the stuff that we're doing now on the PPNY. And I got to tell you, we are expanding. We are here to promote individual real estate and property professionals in our group, but also the group as a whole. We are growing. PPNY, we mean business. Thank you again, Herb. How you doing?
My pleasure.
I'll see you on Wednesday.
Okay, great.
All right.
Have a
Very
good
well.
one. Stay well.
Take
Stay
care.
safe.
All right.